Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic TSC. Today we're going to be going over all the bells and whistles that I can think of to remember for the Pennsylvania Railroad S1 by DSGDDR. For those of you that have been living under a rock, this is one of the coolest freewares available for TSC today, in my opinion. However, I believe many of the other video reviewers probably don't realize just how much went into this model. So DSG was kind enough to send me a list of keybinds and such that most of his locomotives are set up for, and also a lot of the individual animations and such that this locomotive can do. So I thought it'd be well worth going over, pointing out some of the wild, true, freaky, and crazy things on these models. Let's see. We're on the Union Pacific Wasatch grade today, which is a little bit out of the way for these Pennsylvania Railroad locomotives. However, the Wasatch grade does have a fully functional steam locomotive servicing facility. So opted to set down here, but there's a nice big hole where there should have been should have been a turntable. Interesting. Anyway, that's a squirrel moment. We're gonna go over refueling, which is something I know a lot of people tend to forget about or miss. Because typically when you place a locomotive down in a free roam scenario or a quick drive or whatever, you're full up on fuel. You're not thinking about refueling. However, the refueling process for these locomotives is animated very nicely. It is a little bit different between the two locomotives. So we will be going over that. I mentioned in one of my other videos that I missed it. I definitely didn't think to look at it. We are absolutely going to look at it this time around. The braking on these models is fully animated and fully modeled, which is wild. It's very hard to see, unfortunately, thanks to the streamlining and such, but you do kind of have to hop inside. It is a lot of detail, though, that once you see it, it's hard to unsee. It's hard not to notice. It's hard not to be looking for it. So, one of those faulty things is the fully modeled braking system, which thank God the boiler is empty. Otherwise, we'd have a real time trying to see any of it. But it is modeled. I don't know any of the terms for any of these doohickeys. All I know is that they're there. And you kind of dive into here, you can see it all. Dive up under here, you can see it all. And I will show you show it all functioning in a minute. But it is all there. Like I said, it is not immediately noticeable. However, once you notice it, something hard not to be looking for anymore. And it is, I believe, functional on the tender as well. We'll have to hop back here because the coal bunker's in the way for the front set of trucks. These trucks are fully modeled. They're very unique to the S1. Again, it's cool to point out. Like I said, it's not something you would typically notice all the time, thanks to the streamlining on the tender really covers up just about all the mechanical workings on the tender, which, you know, it is the point in this design. It's supposed to be streamlined, it's supposed to be fast, so you're not going to notice a lot of things, but they are all there. Our tender animations change up as coal is consumed, which is cool to note, cool to watch. We will see it in operation whenever we refuel. What's another wonky thing that was pointed out? Oh, the throttle linkage is completely different on both locomotives. Luckily, I can just hop in the cab here and you can see it. So we'll become this guy for a second, but the throttle setup is a little bit different between each locomotive due to where it's all at. So on this model, all of our throttle linkage and such is on the outside of the streamlined casing. Boogity 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 boo. And on the fully skirted model, it's mostly hidden inside of the streamlined casing, and so our interior throttle is modeled to match. It's not just a copy and paste. It's not just a copy and pasted cab, which is a neat bit of work. And what's cool is we hop inside and you can see the throttle linkage. Just kind of entertaining, you know. Again, like I said, it's not something you're necessarily going to notice all the time, but once you notice it, it's there and you won't unnotice it. I believe most of the brake rigging and such between both locomotives is identical, so we won't have to dive into both. I keep forgetting about these. Both locomotives do have a fully functional water scoop, which is, I keep forgetting to point these out, especially on the Pennsylvania models. But they have a functioning water scoop. To my knowledge, we don't have any American routes that have a water trough, a functioning water trough. Maybe one day we'll get one, maybe one day we won't, I don't know. But for giggles and squiggles, it is indeed there, and it is indeed animated, which we will show in a minute. Just kind of a neat thing to point out. Unfortunately, it's not highly noticeable. You do kind of have to be down on the ground, and truth be told, it's got to be lowered for you to really notice that it's there. Otherwise, it's just kind of an extra, but it's a cool extra. Both locomotives do have. What else am I forgetting? Getting all off in here, showing off all the different details and such. You're interesting. Some red. Ah, the front of the smoke box is indeed there. You gotta hop inside the streamlined casing to see it, but it's there. That's cool. Of course, our dual smokestacks. Very neat indeed. That's another difference to point out. The maintenance hatches. So obviously you don't have any of the maintenance hatches on the unskirted variant, but the skirted variant has a bunch of maintenance hatches that'll open up with maintenance lights, and they are all animated. I will try to go over the list of keybinds as well. Helpful thing to know for those of you that try to make good use of all your keyboard. And I do have it all written down. I just have to find where I wrote it down at. Right there. So, let's dive into one of these. So we're going to let our brakes fully seat. While our brakes fully seat, we can go over the reversing gear animations. Which again is all modeled. You have to get up under here a little bit to see some of it, but it does all function. Boogity 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 boo. Hop in here. Hop over here. And if we zoom in just a bit. Well, I say just a bit. Can see it all off under here. Which again, like I said, it's not something you'll, well, at least not inside. You won't notice the inside animations as much, but outside, very highly visible on the de-skirted model. Let's go over the brakes. We'll come over to the side here so we can see. Oh, since I was thinking about it. Yeah, cool. Brakes. So we'll dunk our brakes. And they come undone. So that's our trucks. We'll hop into the inside here and see if we can see our brake linkage. There's not a good spot to really hop in to see it. We'll just watch this one spot right here. Throw it up to emergency. And you see it. Slowly. Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. Now we'll hop up under here. We'll watch our main drivers from a few different perspectives. All of this is animated. That's interesting. I wonder why that one's doing that, not that one. Anyway. Take it to release. You see all of the hangers and whatnot moving. Of course, if we hop up here, boink. Right, let's come to the rear drivers. It's a little bit easier to see. So even our pistons and such move. And of course on the outside, you can see it on the outside. Brake shoes themselves close in. And of course, our trailing truck here. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. I don't think it's going to be much inside of the trailing truck. No. We hop over here to our tender. We'll hop to the rear, because the rear is a little bit more visibly accessible. When I say that, maybe not. Yeah, we can see it from here. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. Pretty neat. Like I said, a lot of work that's went into this. It's not readily noticeable, but once you catch it, it's a lot of like almost like Easter eggs. You'll catch them and then you'll notice them. Let's see, right about here. You can see the front truck and the fully animated. Ah, our horn doesn't want to play today. Oh well. It is what it is. Is there anything else that I am missing according to my notes other than going through the refuel? So, let's pull it up here to a water tower. See if we can get it lined up nice and somewhat right about there. Yeah. So let's see. Boink. Our hatches open up. I don't believe we got any water in there. Our hatches do open up. I'm not going to sit here and wait for it to completely refill because it'll take us all day. Boy, that is one fast. That is one fast water spigot. Now, the chances of this thing making it through this curve is laughable. However, it is Train Simulator, so we can do things that you shouldn't be able to do. Now we're gonna hop in. Notice the tender and our doors and such right now. We can see our grading. We can see these doors are all. Now these, I will go ahead and spoiler alert. These will open all the way up. If I had done zero coal whatsoever in the tender, I didn't want to risk not being able to physically move though, so I believe that is the lever for the water scoop. So like I said, I'll go over in a second. I don't believe the lever wants to work. Get it up under the coaling tower here. And let's see. So it starts to fill up. We can watch it from here. Our doors start to close, latch up. It just slowly fills up. That's pretty neat. Pretty neat, pretty neat. I don't know why our brake sounds want to keep hopping off, but oh well. Will it let me? Nope. Gonna have to run the locomotive up to here. Oh, right. Let's take our throttle down to 0 real quick. We can watch our throttle linkage here. A neat thing to watch. And before I get up there to that model, let's I'll stop. Throw our locomotive brakes up. Let's go over the different keybinds. See how many of these want to fiddle and squiggle just right. So, starting with numero uno. Shift plus D is increment dynamo, so shift plus D, which our dynamo is already running, so not a whole lot we can do there. Control D decreases the dynamo, so it's got a nice fade away. Shift plus D gets it to going again. The more you hold down Shift D, the more it pushes steam into the dynamo, and it starts to spin up. So you can control how much steam's going to the dynamo. It's kind of cool. Of course, H for our headlight. Oh, I guess it helps turn the dynamo back on, doesn't it? Shift H brings the headlight down. Control H is our class lights. It also lights up the number board there on the side. Let's see. V, our cab light. Shift V, HUD light. Shift V. Control V is the rear cab light. That one right there. B is the engineer side bell. Shift B is the fireman side bell. X increment sander. Let's hop back over here. To push sand out onto the track. And then Shift X brings the sander back. Oh, go back in the cap. So X, sander, Shift X, pulls the sander back. Control X is the automatic brake sander. This is something I didn't ever... So the automatic brake sander, when you... it doesn't want to play it that way. Turn it off. It didn't want to play that way. But Control X, automatic brake sander. That's a fun one. One I didn't know was there. F, firebox door pedal. Right there. Opens up the firebox. Shift F opens the firebox door. Shift F. The more you use Shift F, or the more you hold Shift F, the more it opens. And then Control F closes it. The more you hold it, the more it closes. R is the stoker. Let's hop over here. Shift R brings the stoker back. You can see, starts building up her fire math. Control how much goes in there at once. Let's see. Stoker. Control R brings up the stoker booster. Control R. So we get some real fire if we open up our stoker and our stoker booster. But stoker booster, Control Shift R brings the booster back. Control 1, first boiler level. So I imagine it had to be over here. Which is this one here. Water level check. Control 2. Control 3. Control Shift 1 is the first level of the distribution tower. Right here. It's a turret check. So let's come out here. Maybe we can see. Nah, so that's a bit of a funkiness. But 2 and then 3 is kind of hiding behind the throttle there, but there's a third. So Control Shift, or no, or yeah, I'm not crazy. Control Shift 1 through 3 is level of distribution. Y brings the water scoop down. So let's hop back here. Boogity boogity boo. We gotta hop in here. Boom, water scoop. And then of course Shift Y brings the water scoop back up. E opens our sunroof. Shift E closes the sunroof. Of course, the more you hold the button, or the button combo, the more it'll open or close. Q opens the rear ventilation. So Q. This panel up here. And of course, Shift Q closes it. Shift 4 opens the left front side window. Control 4 closes it. Control Shift 4 opens and closes front windows. Come back over here. Shift 5 opens the rear left side window. Control 5 will close it. Shift 6 opens the left door. Let's see. Probably easier to see it if I'm over here now. So Shift 6 opens that door. Control 6 closes it. And then Shift 7. Whoa, my mouse sensitivity decided to work. But Shift 7 opens. Control 7 closes. Shift 8 opens the rear right side window. Control 8 closes it. Shift 9 opens the front. Control 9 closes it. And then Control Shift 9 opens and closes the right front window. Control Shift 9. And that is the list of special keybinds for the S1. Of course, there are the basic controls, W and S for your reverser, A and D for your throttle. Basic stuff that is on pretty much every locomotive. I'm not going to go over all those. I'm just going over the specific to this model stuff. So let's hop up here to the skirted model. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time going over the skirted model because most of the stuff on the skirted model is going to be much the same. However, I am going to go through the refueling so we see the differences there. All the keybinds are the same on both locomotives. Like I said, the throttle is one of those oddball wonky differences. So as you can see, it is still animated, but it is a little bit different because the rest of the throttle is hidden inside the boiler here. It does move. And of course, we got our reverse gear, which is modeled. You can't really see it thanks to the skirting, but it is modeled. And the brakes are identical. However, let's see, where is our maintenance lights? Maintenance light below cab, center locomotive, compressors, front drivers, rear drivers. It opens all these panels up, and it turns on the little lights. See? Our lights are right up there. It goes through, opens up the panels, and you can see a little bit more of the fun and wonkiness. So that's where the big difference is. Go ahead and turn all of those off. Open up your cylinder cocks, and we start rolling. We'll bring it up here, and we'll do a refuel on this locomotive. don't need that. We'll be jumping back. And just start slowing it down. Oh yeah, you can lock the wheels. There's no sparks or anything, but you know, just for giggles and squiggles, you can indeed lock the wheels up and it will slide. Both locomotives will do that. Just another quick notation. So continue pulling forward here. I know, I'm throwing it all around like it's a race car or something. Bring it to a stop. Get over here. Get rid of... oh, well, I guess I needed that for a second, but... oh, there we go. As you can see, it starts to close all these latches as it fills up. I think externally, not much changes. Doesn't really do a whole lot. So, there's our coaling process. Run up here. I don't believe there's an ash pan dump. I don't think it actually dumps any ash out. It is pretty cool that you can lock the wheels up like that. Using the locomotive brakes, obviously. Release our brakes. See if we can get this lined up nice and pretty. Now here it'll be a little bit different than the other locomotive thanks to the streamlining still existing, not quite. Boom, right about there. As you can see, kind of opens the streamlining there a little bit, and then opens the hatches. Obviously, thanks to the limitation of Train Simulator, it doesn't work both of the water towers. It just works one right there in the dead center. But you get the effect. You get the idea. So, and that is everything, I believe. Of course, I think I kind of went over it a little bit in my other video. Just about everything in this cab is modeled, simulated, and touchable. I believe you said there are some things that you can fiddle with. They don't really serve a whole lot of purpose due to the simulation, but you can still fiddle with them. So like your stokers, front, left, right, all that fun stuff you can fiddle with. It won't make much of a difference. It'll still continue to build up your fire mass either way, but you can adjust them for, you know, giggles and squiggles. Yeah, coal sprinkler, there's one of them. You know, you really won't notice. You won't see any change. And of course, stuff like, what's another wonky one you really won't notice? Yeah, the sight glass. They don't really do much. The sight glass valves over here, these. They don't do much. They make a different noise. It's really, really faint, but they do make a different little noise. But stuff like that. Everything in this cab is fiddleable. I think the only thing that's not fiddleable is, I believe, that should be your water scoop lever right there, which unfortunately doesn't work. But I'm not hating. Like I said, you can fiddle with just about everything in this cab if it floats your boat. All the water glass, Stoker jet supply, all this funness, it's all there. It's all modeled. So, anywho, anyways, I believe I've gone over a lot of the intricates on this locomotive, some of the cool things to notice and see. Ah, darn. Front coupler. That's one thing I forgot. Oh well. I unfortunately... Well, I don't know. Does this locomotive have a front coupler? I would think so. Yeah, there's the fold downs right there. Unfortunately, I did not think to stick down some cars to pull up to the front of a car or a locomotive or something. I guess I could back up and stick these two nose to nose. The coupler will pop up on the unskirted model. We obviously don't have the streamlining here, but the coupler does pop up and it will latch on. But yeah, I believe I got all the funky wonkies, all the bells, buttons, and whistles and such that these locomotives have that are worth taking a note of. I'm sure there's some stuff I'm missing, especially in my notes, but I do try. I try to get them all. I try to get everything noted that I can, whatever floats a boat. So, pointed out all the stuff that maybe you didn't think to look for, maybe you didn't notice. If you did notice, good on you. I hope you're enjoying it. I know I am. This is an extraordinary model, especially for freeware. But just for giggles and squiggles, I'm going to pull it up here on the turntable. In theory, it fits. Maybe it doesn't. I definitely didn't stop in time for that. Back it up, back it up. Let's see. Just for giggles and squiggles. Maybe I can turn it around and latch it up. Nah, I don't think the game's going to count that because tender's overhanging. Yeah, I didn't think so. Darn. Yep. It don't count. Sad days. Darn. Why can't I, TSC? The wheels are clearly clearing. Clearly clearing. But, oh well. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe you learned something different about all of these models. Most of DSG's locomotives include a lot of the features I just pointed out. Just a kind of heads up. I might go back and do a features video on all of his other stuff. However, well, especially the Santa Fe locomotive, I do intend to go back and kind of point out a lot of the bells and whistles on the Santa Fe Northern, but I believe he's reworking some of the other stuff, so I don't want to go back and go over those just yet, but we will see what is in store as time goes on. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.